Hey everyone, so I'm going to discuss the most common power issues that people seem to have on motorhomes. So we'll start outside here at the power point. Up. Normally you have a tab here that covers the front. So what you want to do is you want to pull that up, slot that tab into there. So slot that piece. This one's broken, but you get the idea. And then you just push it in and make sure it's firm and secure. Then when you come to your power box with your lead, plug that in. Make sure this tab goes here. It locks the plug in. And also make sure your circuit breakers are facing up on the power box. Stepping inside here now, we're in a 6-berth motorhome, but the design of the electrical system is nearly identical on all of the motorhomes, so from the 3-berth, the 4-berth, and similar. So if we come down here, you just have to locate where your isolator switch is. So it's here on this model, just there. So always locate that isolator switch or the 240 volt outlet, the points, and then you'll find your main RCD over there. Lift up that box there, and then that gives you access to the circuit breaker or the RCD. If it's in the off position, you're not going to have any power, so always make sure it's up, so it's in the on position. If you have a microwave fitted in your vehicle, the first thing that will come on is that. You'll see that that's the easiest and most obvious thing. The second thing that will switch on, and you'll hear a light humming noise from the fan, is the battery charger. So if I come underneath the seat here, it's normally always located underneath the seats. Just over there, we've got that battery charger. So that will be the first thing also that comes on. You won't know that because it's normally under the vehicle. So it's hidden away underneath some cabinetry or something similar. And if anyone needs to know, that's normally where your charge controller is mounted. And that's where your fuses are in case you have any issues and you want to address your 12 volt system. So that's where all of that is over there. This is the VSR, it's called a voltage sensing relay. When the alternator starts charging the chassis battery, only when it reaches above a certain level, then it will switch over and allow the charging to continue on to the house battery. So the start battery must be fully charged before the house battery gets charged. And this is the little device that controls that system. Next to this, you can see the little projector box. This is called a low voltage disconnect unit. And I'll cover this a bit later on in more detail. The easy way to tell when you're plugged in is just look at the voltmeter and just see it should be charging. You should see it in the green here. Now we're in a Kia Breeze. So this is a 4-berth motorhome. And you'll see that the control panel is over there at the top. And if we come to the front over here, notice again the red isolator switch to... Basically what that red isolator switch is, when you turn that off, it kills the power to the house area. So it'll stop electricity or current flowing into any of the low voltage circuits. And if we come down here, that's your main RCD with your circuit breakers on this model. And notice that off is always down, on is always up. Just over there like so. And this model has the charger underneath the seat as well. If you wanted to see that, you just have to pull the seat up. It's just clipped in there and there. It clips in here. And then that gives you access underneath there. All your fuses and your charger are underneath the seat over there. And this is where your diesel heater is located. So if I go ahead and remove that, that's where you notice. And that's where your house battery is located as well at the back. Now we've stepped into a 3-berth Kia Nomad. This one has carbon monoxide monitor that's located here at the seat. As you have seen in the previous clips, you have the same red isolator switch and the circuit breakers, which when they're up in the up position, they are on. And the 2 black sockets are your 12 volt cigarette lighter outputs. Normally on these Kia Nomads, and most of the new ones, you have one 12 volt DC socket there. It's a cigarette lighter type socket, and you have two USBs to charge it over there. Again, we've got the Projecta battery charger, the AGM battery, your fuses are located here, and your solar charge controller. Now we're in a 6-bit horizon, and if we come down here at the bottom, just over there is that isolator switch, but if you notice there's no circuit breakers, because the circuit breakers are located under the seat, which I'll show you now. So once you lift up the squab and you come underneath here, that's where you find that circuit breaker, and it's just located underneath there, so in case anyone gets stuck. So that's where that's located, just under there, with the solar charge controller as well. So on this camper here, you can see we're plugged in. Coming inside now, if you forget that the vehicle's plugged in into power, and if I go and try and put it on ignition, watch what happens. So you basically get a warning buzzer, and that red light illuminates. This is just to warn you that it's still plugged into power. So that's just to warn you that it's still plugged into power and you've forgotten to unplug it. So that's just a safety measure. So if you ever hear that, that's what that's from. So you've forgotten to disconnect the power from the 240 volt outlet. So when you plug it into power, if you come back here and if you've still got a voltmeter fitted, which all the models did, you can see that this one is charging well. Ignore that this is up here. Sometimes some of these voltmeters can play up and the calibration gets disturbed because it's just a needle. So this one really shouldn't be right up there at the 15 volts, but it should sit somewhere around the 14.2, or between about 13.7 to about 14.2. So just keep that in mind. So as soon as you plug it in, you should see that jump up, and that'll indicate that the charger is working well. Also, when you start the vehicle, that's when it'll also jump up, and when the sun is out with the solar charge controller and the solar panel on the top, that's also when it'll be in the green zone, and it'll show you that it's charging. With lead acid batteries, you don't want to drop it below 12 volts. I'll put up a chart now of the minimum voltage. A voltage corresponds to the state of charge, so you should see that now. So just keep that in mind, that's very important. So once you drop any lead acid chemistry battery, whether it be an AGM gel, below 50%, you're effectively damaging the battery. Even though it's a deep cycle type battery, you don't want to drop it below 50% on a lead based battery. Lithium is fine, you can drop it up to about 20% safely, but you will drop the charge cycles significantly of the battery if you do discharge it every time below 50% as per the voltage in the chart. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I would explain about the low voltage disconnect. So here's a good example. If I bring you in, if you read that, it's disconnected at the moment. So when that red light is on, that means the load is disconnected. So how the system works, it protects the house battery. I'll put up a wiring diagram now and you'll see that. So effectively, the load, so your water pump, your fridge, all your 12 volt circuits goes into this little unit here, and then this goes to the battery. There's jumpers at the back, which you'll see now. So you select the correct voltage that you want to set for your particular application, whether it's a NiCad, gel, AGM, or just a standard lead acid deep cycle battery. You set that on the back of this unit. So we're up here at the gauge. If that voltage drops below your set point, for example, we'll just say 12 volts. If it drops below 12, immediately it'll cut off, like you've seen here. So that's cut off at the moment, and there's no voltage. None of the circuits will work over here. So for example, if I turn any of this on, you can see nothing is coming on at all. It's all dead. So this is a perfect example. So I'll show you how to reset that now. The reason why they put this in is because it prevents the house battery from being excessively drained, which will extend its life. So that's the main reason why they're fitted. So if coming back here, now what we want to do is, if you're ever in this scenario, as you've seen, we'll just push this button over here. So normally you can just push the button here and then it should reset if the battery voltage is back up.
Otherwise, once the battery voltage goes above the set point, it will automatically engage again. So it's a fully automatic unit on this low voltage disconnect Projecta box. Sometimes you can come here, turn this off, turn the load off. That will essentially turn that off as well, and you can reset it that way as well. So now I'll show you. You can see it's reset, and now that's back up again to 12.2. So if you push the reset button sometimes, and if that doesn't work, just turn the isolator switch, and that will effectively reset the whole system. And as you can see here now, if I turn on the lights, I'll just show you that. Lights turn on. If I turn on the water pump, don't know if you can hear that, but that's running. So we'll just turn everything on. And I'll turn the fridge on now as well. And as you can see, the fridge was left on, so hence the reason why it pulled the voltage down at night. That's what that low voltage disconnect kicked in. That's quite low at the moment, even though it's on the green. It's not ideal. Now as you can see, I put all the circuits on, and you just saw that trip over there, and now it's tripped over here. So that's a prime example on how you might encounter this issue. So now if you're wondering, you might come to your vehicle, or you might wake up one morning and suddenly see that the voltage has dropped like that. Notice how all the circuits were on. So we'll turn everything off again. Come back to the fridge, and we'll just turn it all the way down. Realistically, it should be between about 3 and 4. Even in summer, that's more than adequate. Again, we're here at the low voltage disconnect, which is cut off the battery. And as you can see, it's turned off here. So again, come to the front, make sure all your loads are off. I'll try and show you both at the same time. So I'll come here to the isolator switch, turn it off, turn it back on, and the voltage is above 12, so it won't cut off again. And now that means if your voltage is down there, you want to charge it immediately. So start the engine or plug your camper into a campsite, and that will start charging the battery again. So like I said, remember, you make sure your battery is fully charged before you use any of the circuits, or check your fridge. That might be on, and that might be the reason why your battery is getting drained without you realizing. Especially if you look on a day like this, when it's raining and when there's no sun, the solar panel is not going to be charging the auxiliary battery or the house battery, so just keep that in mind as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this video was of some help to you, and I hope you solved your issues if you have been experiencing the similar problem. See you, everyone.